it's your girl, Kat the Poet, and as you can see by the title, I'm here to give you guys a detailed tutorial on how I did my soft locks. So I bought 5 packs of the Bobby Boss New Locks in inches 14, and I extended them, which I have basically 28 inches. And I'm going to show you guys where they stop at later on in the video. And I used some spring twist hair that I got off Amazon. I will be leaving the link to that. I know you guys have seen more tutorials where they use water wave hair, but I chose to use spring twist hair because it's more coarse. And I wanted my dreads to look as coarse as possible. I wanted them to look like they were really coming out of my scalp. And I wanted them to match my 4C hair type. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how coarse the locks are. And yeah, so the locks stop like kind of, no, but y'all pants, y'all, so don't judge me. They stop at kind of towards at the top of my butt. Of course, if you want them longer, or you can get a 14 and an 18 or a 18 and an 18, or if you want them shorter, you don't have to extend them at all. But I will be showing you guys how I extended them, how I put them in, how I sealed them with the spring twist hair. So I'm not going to do a lot of rambling. Let's get into the video. So I bought 5 packs of the 14-inch Bobby Boss New Locks, and I only end up using 4 packs. And the spring twist came with 3 bundles of hair, and I only used about 1.5. So I chose to do the extension of the locks first because it's less time consuming. You're going to take 2 locks. The first one you are going to open up the loop, and then the second lock you are going to split the bottom of it in 2 sections. Once you split the locks in 2 sections, you're going to take 1 section and put it through the loop. Once the section is through the loop, you are going to tie it once. After you tie it once, you are going to tie it again around the other side. Once you have tied it both times, you're going to take both sections in each direction they are pointed and wrap them around, with the bottom section wrapping around the bottom dread and the top section wrapping around the top dread. I wrapped them around to make it look more like one big lock instead of 2 locks combined together. Once you have wrapped both those around, you're going to take it in the palm of your hand and wrap it again. As you can see with me pulling it, the lock is not going to come apart. So I braided my hair into box braids, individual box braids, and there are exactly 52 braids in my head. So the next step we are going to do, we are going to actually attach our dreads to our braids. I'm going to do one for example. So I'm going to take my crochet needle and put it through the root of my braid and attach my dread at the other end of the needle and go ahead and pull it through. Once you pull this through, you are going to take the loop of the dread and pull your braid through it. I only pulled my braid through it and not the whole dread so that it cannot look so lumpy at the root. I am then going to take the dread and unwind it in the opposite direction and twist it around the braid. Make sure that you do this within small sections of the dread and not in big sections, so that the dread won't be super loose and just look horrible. Make sure that you really take your time when you do this step, because this is an actual crucial important part and you don't want it to look messy or just sloppy. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take one piece of my spring twist hair and I am going to completely fluff it. I completely fluffed this hair because I wanted it to look as coarse as possible and I didn't want it to resemble anything loosely curly. So I'm going to take this and then crochet it into the root of my dread. As you guys can see right here, I'm struggling doing this because it's a lot of hair in my way. So make sure that when you are doing this, to avoid the frustration that I went through, that you have your the rest of your hair placed in a ponytail so that it won't be in your way while you are doing your dreads. So once I have that crocheted into my head, I'm going to take one half of the hair and I'm going to start wrapping it down my braid in a downwards motion. So I'm not doing this really, really tight and I'm not doing this really, really loose either. I'm just doing it kind of medium, not loose or tight. But notable mention, I do wrap each one of my dreads differently in a different pattern so that it can give that messy, coarse look. And I make sure that when I see that it's getting curly, I fluff it out more. And this hair tends to kind of sometimes knot up. So as you're doing it, you might want to pull the knots out of the hair so that it doesn't get really, really super tangly. But once I kind of reach the end of that piece of hair, I put a knot in it. Be careful with this hair because it can get tangly. So I take the other piece of hair and I begin to wrap it upwards, as you guys can see. So once I am wrapping it upwards, I'm going to wrap that piece of hair until it is thin, and I'm going to cut that excess piece off of it. This I do this so that I can make sure that the dread is completely sealed. Some people only wrap it downwards, but I decided to wrap it upwards so that I knew that this dread was not going to fall out of my head or the hair would not come unloose or anything like that. But as you guys can see, once it gets thin enough, I go ahead and I tie it around my braid. Dread, I'm sorry. I tie it around my dread twice so that I can make sure that it is completely secure. So after I have completely finished installing my dreads, I am going to take this alcohol-free mousse and apply it all over my hair. To see more of my final look, you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at urban__poet. Thank you for watching this video and make sure that you subscribe.